You're not being polite to the pronouns.
Because
gender is a completely different thing.
Sex characteristics and gender them into.
We'll go home in an ambulance.
From college campuses to live TV, Ben Shapiro has taken on woke culture. And the results? Absolutely explosive.
you can't sacrifice truth because some people are going to actually suffer because of the truth.
At a recent event, Shapiro faced off with a student who challenged his views on gender.
Trans people aren't valid. They're not a thing. They're just girls pretending to be boys or boys pretending to be girls.
Okay. Oh, someone's excited. Okay.
What happened next? You'll want to see this.
And if I call you a moose, are you suddenly a moose? Okay, if I redefine our terms.
The student argued that gender is a social construct, a fluid identity beyond just biology. You could almost feel the tension in the room as everyone waited for Shapiro's response.
No.
It's not completely disconnected, but it's still a cultural thing. It's still from society.
Okay. No, it is not in the mind, okay? You're not a man if you think you're a man.
In true Shapiro fashion, he calmly but firmly broke down the argument, emphasizing the biological facts that define male and female.
In dealing with in whatever way you see fit. But if you are going to dictate to me that I'm supposed to pretend that men are women and women are men, no. My answer is no. I'm not going to modify basic biology because it threatens your subjective sense of what you are.
Facts don't care about your feelings, he said, followed by applause from the audience. Shapiro laid out the details step by step, making it clear that while culture influences gender expression, it can't override biology.
Age is significantly less important than gender. You can't magically change your gender. You can't magically change your sex. You can't magically change your age.
You can still legally change it. People recognize
You can't legally change your age.
But it's not just college students feeling the heat. On live TV, Shapiro faced off against transgender activist Zoe Tur, and things escalated quickly. During the discussion, Shapiro used male pronouns to refer to Tur. What followed was a media storm.
Disrespect.
Okay, forget about the disrespect. Facts don't care about your feelings. It turns out that every chromosome, every cell in Caitlyn Jenner's body is male with the exception of some of his sperm cells. It turns out that his brain structure is male. It turns out that he still has all of his male appendages. How he feels on the inside is irrelevant to the question of his biological sex.
Yes, you heard that right. On live TV, Shapiro was physically threatened over a pronoun.
You cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
But did he back down? Not a chance. Shapiro's calm response only intensified the situation.
Yeah, that seems mildly inappropriate for a political discussion.
No, I know. Well, but wait. To be fair, but to be fair, you're actually being kind of rude. And that's not fair.
I'm sorry, it's not rude to say that someone who's biologically a male is a male. Someone who's biologically male is a male.
It's not just about the showdowns. Shapiro's approach in debates often involves taking on arguments directly, even when they're emotionally charged. For instance, at Ferris State University, a student passionately argued that gender is merely a performance shaped by societal expectations, a view often cited in gender studies.
Gender is biological. This is something that's completely untrue within every single medical consensus.
Well then,
Shapiro didn't shy away from the challenge. Instead, he pointed out that while society might influence how gender roles are expressed, it doesn't change the biological reality that has existed for millennia.
I will just say that anyone who suggests that gender has no reference whatsoever to biology, it's not connected in any way to biology, is just full of shit. Because if the and the reason I
he reiterated, you can't change biology based on how you feel. The student's theory crumbled as Shapiro dissected the distinction between societal norms and biological facts, making a clear case for why biology should remain the foundation for defining male and female. Then there was the showdown at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where Shapiro confronted a student who confidently argued that gender isn't linked to sex at all. As the audience leaned forward in anticipation, Shapiro delivered a response that cut through the confusion. In 99.9% of cases, you can tell someone's gender by looking at them.
And a biological mom have precisely the same definition. They don't. They're underneath a subset of category called motherhood. That motherhood sometimes involves birth, sometimes it does not, but it certainly involves being a female.
What do you think about the distinction between cis women and trans women?
Explain.
Well, you're saying that You're saying that a more inclusive usage of the word mother isn't particularly offensive because we also have biological mother.
Yes.
We've offered the term cis woman in even biological woman or assigned female at birth. We've offered a variety of terms that properly categorize people.
Again, you cannot extend the term woman to apply to a biological male.
He explained that while there are rare exceptions, using intersex individuals as an argument for a spectrum doesn't invalidate the biological categories of male and female that have stood throughout history. He continued to make his point by explaining how the biological duality of sex serves as the basis for human reproduction and remains consistent across all mammalian species.
Every category has an endpoint. If there are only two categories, male and female, and you say that female now is in this category, there are no definitions. There are no definitions. I mean, to paraphrase my friend Matt Walsh, I'm going to need you to explain what a woman is without reference to the word woman. We can go on all day like this, but...
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily circular to say that a woman is someone who exhibits womanhood.
Yes, it is.
And that...
It is definitionally circular.
Well...
The response left little room for counter-arguments, and the students' rebuttal quickly fell apart. Not all debates are as explosive. At Politicon, Shapiro took a different approach when debating Blair White, a conservative transgender YouTuber. Unlike other debates, this encounter had a tone of mutual respect, yet Shapiro maintained his stance on pronouns and gender identity.
Yeah, no, I think there's some truth to that, meaning that I think that there is a utility to the use of pronouns, but that's not quite the same as suggesting that a transgender woman is a she in the objective sense. So is that if you looked like me, you could still be transgender woman, right? You wouldn't actually have to go through surgery, you wouldn't have to actually go through hormone treatments, you wouldn't have to go through any of that to be perceived as a woman. Right. And therefore, if it would actually be assuming pronouns for me to be sitting at dinner and you to walk up and say, that dude sitting over there, right? You'd actually be assuming my pronoun if I were a transgender woman.
Exactly.
And
He made it clear that while he doesn't go out of his way to offend, he also wouldn't adopt language that contradicts biological facts. I wouldn't purposefully disrespect someone, but I'm not going to pretend that subjective identity overrides objective reality, Shapiro explained. His ability to convey his position without resorting to personal attacks illustrated his skill in handling delicate topics while remaining steadfast in his beliefs. Shapiro's willingness to engage goes beyond gender debates. At a college event, a student accused him of making racist statements about Arabs, citing tweets and articles he had written years ago. The student read aloud one of Shapiro's controversial tweets. The Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage.
The Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage. This is not a difficult day. Well, you before that said Israelis like to build.
The crowd gasped. Rather than backpedal, Shapiro clarified the context, explaining that his comments referred to extremist groups that promote terrorism, not all Arabs. He read aloud the follow-up tweets in the same thread.
Okay, ready? There are many, many Christian and Muslim Arabs who are wonderful people, just not the ones who oppose Israel in the Israel-Arab conflict. That would be the response within the same Twitter thread. Okay, in the post read, Israelis versus Arabs, I wrote about Arabs who take part in the Israeli-Arab conflict, as anyone who can read knows. #dumbasses.
There are many Christian and Muslim Arabs who are wonderful people, just not the ones who oppose Israel. Shapiro used the opportunity to draw a line between criticizing ideologies or political movements and attacking entire groups of people, making a case for the importance of nuanced debate. Sometimes, the controversy starts before Shapiro even speaks. His appearance at UC Berkeley was met with massive protests, and the heavy police presence only added to the spectacle. Why? Because Shapiro's views on free speech and gender politics were seen as dangerous. Dangerous ideas at a university that is supposed to encourage open-minded thinking. Inside the event, the atmosphere was thick with tension. When a student accused Shapiro of bigotry for refusing to use preferred pronouns, he didn't hold back. He argued that people are free to live as they choose, but no one should be compelled to adopt another person's beliefs or language.
The position on transgenderism I want to clarify so that I can tell you what I would change and what I wouldn't change. So what I would not change is the idea that you cannot force people to call you what you want to be called. That is anathema to a free society.
You can choose how to live, but you can't force me to change my speech, he stated, prompting applause from the audience. At another event, Shapiro addressed the issue of puberty blockers for children. The student brought up the topic, trying to catch Shapiro off guard by comparing it to circumcision.
Okay, Ben, are your children circumcised? Did you circumcise your children?
Yes, I have two sons and they're both circumcised.
Why would you do that? Isn't that kind of hypocritical?
Nope, I'm circumcised, my works just fine.
But Shapiro was ready. He calmly pointed out the difference. Puberty blockers can cause permanent damage and have lifelong consequences, he said. We need to be extremely cautious when it comes to medical interventions that can irreversibly affect a child's development. The student pressed on, but Shapiro held his ground, emphasizing the ethical responsibility to avoid life-altering treatments for children until they can make informed decisions. He made his argument with care, showing that even in heated debates, he could address complex issues thoughtfully. So what is it about Ben Shapiro that sparks such intense reactions? Is it his refusal to back down, his calm under pressure, or is it that he's willing to say what so many others won't? His stance on gender, free speech, and other hot-button issues has made him one of the most talked-about voices in the political arena. Even when a student at a separate event accused him of supporting a Western colonial framework by upholding binary gender roles, Shapiro didn't miss a beat. He pointed out that biological differences between men and women exist across cultures, not just in Western societies. This isn't about Western culture, it's about human nature, he said, driving home the universality of his argument.
Then why should it apply? If we're using, because the gender binary is a Western colonialist framework of gender.
You're right, men and women don't exist in any other culture.
No.
Shapiro's relentless pursuit of what he sees as objective truth has made him a well-known figure in many discussions. Whether he's confronting students on college campuses or debating activists on live TV, he remains committed to his belief that facts should not be sacrificed for feelings. Shapiro's debates aren't just about winning arguments. They're about defending a worldview that he believes is under threat. His willingness to challenge political correctness and push back against cultural trends reflects a deeper concern about the direction society is heading. Whether you agree with him or not, one thing is clear: Shapiro isn't backing down. And if his recent debates are any sign, this fight is far from over. What do you think? Are you with Ben Shapiro on his stance on gender and free speech? Or do you think woke culture has a point? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more epic debates. See you in the next video.